Reimbursement.
All right, we're going to call the Exeter Township Board of Supervisors meeting dated February 10th, 2025 to order. All rise to pledge the flag.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call, Mr. William Heim.
Ms. Kircher.
Here.
Mr. Ham is not present tonight. Mr. Bell.
Here.
Mr. Paiho, Vice Chairperson.
Here.
Mr. Mohammed, Chairperson.
Here.
4 present, 1 absent.
The next item on our agenda is the swearing-in ceremony of officers of the Exeter Township Volunteer Fire Department. Is Officer Jared Weeks here? Please step forward. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jared Weeks,
I, Jared Weeks,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth. That I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth
and bylaws of Exeter Township Volunteer Fire Department,
and bylaws of the Exeter Township Volunteer Fire Department,
and that I will discharge the duties of my position
and I will discharge the duties of my position
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
I'll promise that to always act with integrity
I promise that I will always act with integrity
and in the best interest of the citizens and the community of Exeter Township.
and in the best interest of the citizens and the community of Exeter Township.
Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next item on our agenda is Exeter Township Police Department Award recognition.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I'm going to ask Detective Sergeant Rocco DiCamillo to come up to the podium. So I just want to advise, just give you an idea how our awards work. So when an officer does something award-worthy, he's then nominated by another officer of the department. And then it goes to a committee of officers in our department, and they'll review the nomination for the award, and they determine if they should get the award or not. In this case, we had 2 nominations for Officer Brian Evelyn and Officer Josh Wirtz. If they could please come up to the front here. Yep, that's good, right there. Thank you. Okay, Sergeant, go ahead.
Thanks, Chief. The Exeter Township Police Department presents the Exceptional Duty Award to Patrolman Joshua Wirtz in recognition for his unwavering dedication and exceptional service in the line of duty. On January 8th, 2025, Patrolman Wirtz conducted a vehicle stop on Route 422 for multiple vehicle code violations. Patrolman Wirtz's contact with the driver led to further investigation and a request for consent to search the vehicle. As a result of the consent search, Patrolman Wirtz located and seized approximately 8 pounds of crystal methamphetamine.
Wow.
The total street value of the large quantity of crystal methamphetamine that was seized is estimated to be $200,000. Patrolman Wirtz's initiative, perseverance, and total dedication to duty reflected credit upon himself and the Exeter Township Police Department and the community that he serves. Chief of Police, Matthew Harley. The Exeter Township Police Department proudly presents the Honorable Service Award to Patrolman Brian Evelyn in recognition of his unwavering dedication and exceptional service in the line of duty. On November 25th, 2023, Patrolman Evelyn was working a click-it-or-ticket overtime detail when he heard patrol officers dispatched to an Exeter Township residence for a male in distress who was threatening suicide. Officers responded and secured the scene and made contact with the male in crisis. Patrolman Evelyn was requested to respond due to his training as crisis negotiator. He responded to the scene and immediately established a rapport with the subject, and after 15 minutes of communication, the subject agreed to go to the hospital for treatment. Patrolman Evelyn's compassion, communication, and professionalism developed trust with the male in crisis and resulted in a successful outcome for this incident. Patrolman Evelyn's initiative, perseverance, and total dedication to duty reflected credit upon himself, the Exeter Township Police Department, and the community that he serves. Matthew Harley, Chief of Police.
Congratulations, Warren. Thank you.
Congratulations, guys. Keep up the excellent work and keep us safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving forward with agenda amendments, do we have any today?
None.
I have none.
Seeing none, we're going to move next to announcements. I'd like to announce that the Board of Supervisors had an executive session just before this meeting to discuss public safety issues. Moving on to public comments, agenda items, and it appears to be that we have none. Our next item is presentation reported by Penn State Health Lifeline.
Well, good evening. Thanks for having me back again tonight. My name's Keith McMinn. I'm the director of Lifeline. I'm based out of the Hershey Medical Center. With me tonight is John Shook. All of you know John. John runs the day-to-day operations of Lifeline EMS here in Berks. As you're aware, we entered into a new agreement as of January 1st with the Board of Supervisors. First and foremost, I want to thank each and every one of you for entrusting us to continue to provide emergency medical services here in the township. Penn State Health wants to be in this community, and we want to provide a really quality service. And the municipal contribution that you voted on and agreed to helps us to continue to do that. So wanted to first and foremost thank everyone for that. The agreement that we entered into at quarterly intervals, we will come before you and present some information to make sure that we are indeed providing the type of service that's expected and what we've agreed to in the contract. So I'm not going to read the entire presentation. It's only 3 sides. But in January of 2025, there were 295 911 calls that we responded to within Exeter Township. But as you know, we also service other municipalities in this area. The total 911 calls that were that Lifeline EMS out of Exeter responded to was 341. So 295 in the township, 341 total. So we are responding outside the township as needed. One of the other reporting criteria that's in the agreement has to do with average shoot times, average response times, and average times on task in the township. When we get a 911 call, our crews respond on average within a minute. They're on the way. That's a very good shoot time. And one of the reasons we're able to do that is you have provided such an excellent facility for us by moving us across the street. It is by far one of the nicest EMS stations that Lifeline EMS runs out of, so we're very thankful of that. The crews really enjoy it. We have a training room there that we use often, and just again, many thanks for that. The average response time in the township is just over 7 minutes. That's in the report. And the average time on task when we fully complete a 911 call, transport somebody to the hospital, it's just under an hour. It's 53 minutes. The final page of the presentation. There were some inquiries about mutual aid. So mutual aid provided in Exeter Township by Lifeline EMS is 49, and mutual aid received in the township when we are on other calls or doing other work is 27 in January. So 27 times another EMS unit had to come into the township and cover us because we were out on other calls. And then the final statistic at the bottom of that page is, so we do use our EMS units across the street to do some routine transports. These are non-emergency transports. Oftentimes that these are citizens of the township or the surrounding townships who are being discharged from our hospital home, okay, and need a ride. They have medical needs. In January, we used the ambulances across the street to perform that work 32 times. And I know that's information you wanted us to share with you on a quarterly basis. So that concludes the report, but I am happy to take any questions you have about the new agreement or any of our performance data. Happy to share that.
I have none. I thank you for doing an excellent job for the residents of Exeter Township.
Thank you. Really appreciate that.
I would like to add something. We also were in communication with Lifeline about training for our staff, and it's something that they're providing for our staff. We're trying to get it scheduled in January. Unfortunately, with the weather, it didn't work out. But we've been in communication about trying to get it scheduled soon. So it's another plus of having them basically right next door. Help us with that. So.
Yeah, absolutely part of the agreement. We have instructors that will provide that training to the township workforce, CPR, stop the bleed, things like that can be very beneficial. So whenever that can be worked out locally, we're very happy to provide that. I will share one final thing, and I almost forgot it in my comments. I wanted to share with you a new program. So as you're aware, sometimes some of our citizens that call 911 don't always have a true emergency. Okay, that does happen. When that occurs, obviously it takes the ambulance, potentially makes it unavailable for another emergency that's truly needed. That doesn't mean that the individual that called 911 doesn't have a need. It just may not be an emergency like you and I would classify an emergency. So we do have a program that started in the fall. We call it ATE. It stands for Alternative to Transport Encounter. And what it is our crews are now equipped to arrive on the scene of what is a low acuity patient. Low acuity meaning really minor illness or injury. And if the patient determines or the patient's family determines that they don't want to go to the hospital, because going to the hospital, first of all, can be expensive. There could be wait times at the ED, whether it be at Tower Health or at Penn State St. Joe's, for their minor illness. What we do is we try and connect them with a physician or an advanced practice provider using our telehealth program. So our iPads equipped or will help the patient use their technology to get them what they need, but it may not be an emergency that requires an emergency room visit. So you're going to be hearing more and more about that. That really is part of the future of emergency medical services, keeping people in their home that don't need to go to emergency department. It helps with cost of care. As you know, healthcare's, has rising costs, and we're really proud at Penn State to be on the forefront of that.
Do you mind repeating the abbreviation of the program?
Yeah, so it's ATE, it's Alternative to Transport Encounter, ATE. And we're looking for a better nickname, that's what we came up with, but, yeah. So you're going to hear more and more about that.
Okay, yeah, I'm curious. I hear more and more about telehealth, et cetera, doing that, but that's still going to tie up the crew, correct? Am I correct?
So the answer is the crew's still going to respond to the home, do an assessment, determine if this is a true emergency or not. The regulations in Pennsylvania, as they stand now, absolutely require us to take the patient to the hospital if the patient insists on going to the hospital. The rules are very firm on that. But what we find is with having a patient understand that you have a really minor illness or injury and that you could potentially have a long wait at an ED that's overcrowded, that they may try and they may agree to other ways to try and handle their illness or injury via the telehealth portal. Maybe it's they need some prescription medication that's filled or something like that. Maybe it's a toothache that could potentially wait till the next day or something like that. We are talking about minor illnesses or injuries. If there's any question that it might be anything more than that, we're going to take them to the hospital.
Got it.
So, wanted to share that with you as we kind of get around to the municipalities, so.
I just have one additional question, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Certainly.
I was just thinking about the airplanes and the news and things, all these bad bits of news. If we had an event that had more, it don't have to be casualty, more than one injury, like multiple injuries,
Yeah.
maybe multiple locations in the township, it's plausible with 422. Like I imagine we're going to run out of ambulances, so without going through the details in a meeting like this, could I assume there's a plan, maybe coordinated with Sergeant Bentz in the county for such a event, or is it an area of opportunity for Exeter?
Well, yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there's mass casualty plans in
Yes.
place that pool resources together in those situations. We're part of the plan, us and along with the other EMS agencies and the fire departments are involved in the planning of those.
So you're an active participant in the plan?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct,
That's helpful to know.
yeah. The part of Brian Gottschall at the county,
Yes,
part of
right,
his
gotcha.
group,
Yes,
yes,
okay, thank you.
yeah.
And last comment I have, we do have personal experience with Lifeline, and you guys got some really good crews. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. We're very blessed here. The staff we have is excellent.
I can tell you the police department has a really good working relationship with Lifeline, and they've had no issues. We have no issues, and they do a great job.
Thank you.
I know you meet regularly with Sergeant Benson and make sure everything's in order, so.
Yeah, that's John and his supervisors, so. Well, we will be back quarterly to give you these reports and any additional information you need. And again, thank you for the new agreement that went into place January 1st.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right, moving on to consent agenda. Seeking motion to approve consent agenda, the minutes from January 27th, 2025, Board of Supervisors, and then the disbursements of February 10th, 2025.
I move to approve the consent agenda as stated by the chairman.
Do I have a second?
I will second it.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Zoning and planning. seeking a motion to authorize advertisement to request for bid for Boone Road Culvert Project.
Yes, this is a culvert that's been on our books for many years. We've been monitoring it, and it's experiencing structural deficiencies. We prepared plans, got the necessary DEP permits to replace this structure, and we are in a position now where we're seeking authorization or approval from the Board of Supervisors to advertise this project. We're looking at early spring so that we can get some competitive pricing. We don't have the limitations that we did on Ole Turnpike, where we had to have the work done when school was out of session. On this one, we can actually do any time of the construction season, but we'd like to have a motion to have our office and staff advertise for the project and proceed with the bid opening.
Joe, I got a couple of questions for you here.
Sure.
This is going to happen under detour?
Yes, it will have detour plan implemented. They will also be required to notify the school buses to have the proper route and as well as emergency services.
You guys established a construction schedule, or you're waiting for the contractor to establish that? I'm just trying to figure out how long.
Right now, I believe we have 90 days allocated for construction. Once we bid the project, we already have the bids documents and the plans substantially complete. They're broken down into items. Once we open bids, we'll be required to have a pre-construction meeting where the contractor will provide us a construction sequence of how they're going to be operating. And at that time, we can make the proper notification. We do have language in there that we do require signage that's put in advance, at least 2 weeks in advance, to notify residents that use Boone Road, that the road will be closed, and there will be a detour plan in accordance with PennDOT criteria.
Got it. I would love to ask you what's your construction estimate, but I wanted everybody to stay competitive, so don't state that.
Okay, that's fine. If you would need to, I can always send an email to the staff.
But I'm
That can be
presuming
forwarded.
you're budgeted for it, and
Yes, I did discuss with the staff. We went over projects that we anticipate having completed and budgeted for this year, and Boone Road is one of those.
Joe, one last question. When you advertise, what means and methods you're using, and how long of an advertisement period you're allowed?
We typically like to allow for at least a minimum of 3 weeks. I prefer 4. We will have a pre-bid meeting. We look at advertising twice. I like to have one advertisement per week. We usually do the Reading Eagle, and we also use other sources as well for notifying contractors of the project. But we find that when we do have a pre-bid meeting, that's an opportunity for contractors to be able to look at the site, asking questions, and then we can issue an amendment to that bid proposal.
Perfect. Okay. Any questions, comments?
Nope.
Okay.
have none.
We'll circle back to it. Seeking a motion to authorize the advertisement to request for bids for Boone Road Culvert Project.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any other discussion? Appears to be none. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 2 actually ties into item number 1. As part of the project for the Boone Road culvert replacement, we're looking for authorization to have our solicitor prepare the legal documents for the acquisition of two permanent easements as well as 2 temporary construction easements. This would involve 2 separate property owners. Each respective property owner would have a permanent easement as well as a temporary easement. The permanent easement is more along our right-of-way to provide us in the future for maintenance of that structure. Temporary easement would help facilitate construction, that the contractor would be allowed to enter onto private property. The temporary easement would be extinguished a time allocated once the project's complete. Typically, we'll do about 6 months to allow for the contractor for any maintenance that needs to go back, punch list items and so forth. This evening, we're looking for permission or authorization to proceed we did prepare legal descriptions as well as a plan to coordinate with engineering staff as well as our solicitor for the preparation of the necessary legal documents for those, both the permanent and temporary easements.
Guess my first question would come in the form is you're intending to secure those easements before you bid the project, right?
Yes, we typically like to have those easements prior to us opening bids.
Okay. And the appraisal for those easements would be done in-house or?
Actually, I would defer to solicitor. In the past, I believe we've usually just acquire them for whatever, in exchange of money for that permanent easement, and a temporary easement, I believe we would hope not to have any exchange of funds.
That's correct. I think we have a dollar value in our easements. They're already drafted and in the SharePoint right now.
Okay. Fair enough. Any other questions to Joe?
I have none.
Okay. Circling back to it, motion to approve the temporary and permanent easement agreement for construction of Boone Road Culvert Project, and I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Last item is, we're looking for a motion to approve escrow release number 1 in the amount of $25,827.36 for Pine Ridge View Estates. To give the board a little bit of a background, this is a project off of Pineland Road. It's a cul-de-sac as known as Princess Court. This is a project that's been, I'll say, under construction for quite some time. Originally had a different developer. The project then went dormant. The road was not completely finished, and there were outstanding public improvements that needed to be completed. A new developer took over the project, which we established a new escrow account for completion of these improvements. And the developer has completed several of those improvements, which consist of E&S control measures, stormwater seepage pits, right-of-way driveway lights, and topsoil and seeding and stabilizing disturbed areas. This total amount is for $25,827.36, with a remaining balance of $61,779.19 for completion of the remaining items. Currently, we are working with the developer on several issues that need to be addressed for completion prior to the Board of Supervisors taking into consideration offer of deed of dedication of Princess Court. When the plans were approved back, I believe, and might be 2006 or 5, there was a proposal on the approved plans for dedication of the road. At this time, we're still working with the developer to have the necessary completion, everything completed, as well as the as-built plans, so this project can be then offered for dedication to the township, and also that we can receive PennDOT liquid fuels. We have a cutoff date of September 1st. I did reach out to our state representative and inform them that we were looking at possibly offering this road as dedication and having it placed on our liquid fuels so that we do get some funding. So this evening, I'm looking for a motion from the Board of Supervisors to approve the release. My understanding is I do have the forms that need to be signed. However, we are holding the escrow account so that we would be notifying First National Bank that is actually holding the money, and we do have an escrow agreement. It is a cash escrow, so we would need to have board's approval, and then the documentation would need to be executed and dated accordingly.
So you mentioned there's work that needs to be done still?
Yes, minor items that need to be done. They need to set street monuments, lot pins. We're working with the developer on the wearing course surface, and I believe there's a few other minor items, but we're trying to have the project tied up, hopefully completed, that we can have the work offer for dedication late spring, early summer of this year.
Okay.
There is still some escrow, right, Joe, though? If-
Yes, there'll be a remaining balance of $61,779.19 remaining in that escrow for completion of any outstanding items, as well as for any fees that still need to be owed to the township, including administrative and legal and engineering.
Okay, we'll circle back to it. Motion to approve escrow release number 1 in the amount of $25,827.36 for Pineview Ridge Estates. The applicant is requesting the release of the escrow funds associated with the construction work complete. Is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I am against. That makes 3-1. Any other discussions on the item?
I have none.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on. Joe, you're obviously free to go.
Okay, thank you.
I don't need to tell you.
Actually,
Alrighty.
Mr. Chair, actually, if I could keep Joe for one more item, to talk about the township annexation plan, the next item here.
Certainly. Sorry, Joe.
That's okay.
All right. Moving on to solicitor.
Thank you. This is a motion to ratify and confirm entering into easements agreements related to the Reading Country Club property and authorizing the township manager to sign these easements. These were easements that were part of the township annexation campus plan back from last summer of 2024. The board approved the township campus annexation plan back in November 25th of 2024, and this literally is just tying up those loose ends there. The three easements that we're talking about are 2 waterline easements, irrigation easements, which are 2 on this picture here on the screen, to the left and right of Gibraltar Road. And then finally, there's also a potential proposed 54 wide future access easement, which is kind of right where the cursor is right now. I don't know if you can zoom in a little bit, but it's kind of at the triangle intersection of where Gibraltar and where Fair Lane would intersect there to the south of the Cartway. So these are the last 2 items. These are the 3 easements that we're talking about here. Again, 2 irrigation easements and 1 proposed access easement. I just wanted Joe to stick around in case he had any other additional insight he wanted to offer on that.
The only thing I'll just add with the access easement, that easement actually was placed where site distance requirements can be met. Gibraltar Road is a challenging road, has a vertical and a horizontal curve. Several years ago, we looked at this intersection and performed site distance evaluation, and that is the area where we have the optimum site distance where we can meet that in accordance with PennDOT requirements. Just to give the board a little background, that's why we chose that spot for a future access.
So we're looking for a motion to ratify, confirm entering into those easement agreements and also authorizing Bill to sign those easement agreements as the township manager.
Can somebody point to the access road easement and show me where is it going through and exactly what's it doing to the campus?
So it's right where Gibraltar is, yep, right there. So it's kind of going, I'll say southeastern on this map. I'm not going to use the cardinal direction.
On that map, where's Gibraltar? I can't see it from
This
here.
is Gibraltar Road right here.
Okay.
And then this would be annexation, and then maybe a roadway that would go into the country club towards the parking lot itself, right here.
Okay.
If it would happen.
And that is the township complex?
So this is the DOT truck stop right here.
Okay.
This is our repair facility. This is Fairlane Road that goes up to a dead end. It's just that top corner of the DOT lot.
So how that easement does this as far as preventing any stops with the scales or anything?
No, that's an upper area where the police couldn't even use that area anyway.
Right.
Okay.
And then this is the irrigation that goes straight across.
Yeah, the irrigation is the irrigation then.
Yeah.
Yeah, good way to say it, Larry. It's up by the big tree.
Okay. I'll look at Joe and I'll look at Larry and everybody here and just ask the question, is this easement going to prevent us from doing anything in the future?
No.
No. As Larry stated, it's pretty much the most triangular part of the land that we own, and it actually is not really valuable as far as us being able to use it for anything else than an access.
What is the approximate area of that triangle?
Well, it's just the width of a roadway, which is.
Yes, there is an area assigned to it for the easement area, but as Larry said, we took as much to allow for the road as well as a right-of-way. At the time, we were looking at this as a township project, but since it's been sold, we still want to allow them to have the right-of-way to access on our road as well, because it'll be a new intersection. It'll be a private drive. It's still, like Larry said, we're going to have it wide enough that it'll facilitate access drive.
What are we
minor
talking
road.
about, 25 feet?
I believe it's 24.
24?
I believe. It's our minor road classification that we do have in our ordinance.
And it is the easement. It doesn't require either the township or the new owner of the Reading Country Club to actually build anything. It's just there in case at some point in the future there is a meeting of the minds and a road is constructed later on.
Yeah. For info, the RCC, the new ownership is incorporating that access into the overall improvement plans for the golf course. Doesn't mean they're going to build the road, but they're planning for maybe.
Future.
Yeah, future, right.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
None.
Okay, we'll circle back to it. Motion to ratify and confirm entering into an easement agreement related to the Reading Country Club property and authorizing the township manager to sign said easement. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Second item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Joe, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. For solicitor number 2, we have a motion authorizing the township manager to enter into an agreement with the Exeter Township School District concerning various maintenance items at the Happy Landing Community Park. There's a couple of different items that, as we announced at the last meeting, the township is kind of turning over the keys to the park back to the school district. There's a couple of items that the district has asked us to rectify prior to that officially occurring, I suppose, just to clean up some of the maintenance items that have deteriorated over the years. So, for example, there's going to be a removal of the parking lot lights as requested by the school district. There's basketball court lighting the district asked us to remove, some gym equipment. The biggest thing is there's a restroom area and a small shed that have kind of fallen into disrepair over the years. The district has asked us to demolish those and take care of the restroom being demolished and the shed being potentially removed, as well as a foundation for an old pavilion, and then basically to fill in some areas with dirt. So this is a requirement of our lease agreement that we had with the school district for us to maintain the property. So this is the last kind of punch items that they asked us to rectify. And Larry, I don't know if you want to add anything.
No, that pretty much covers everything.
Okay.
Would that work be done in-house, or you're trying to solicit it?
Yes, it'd be in-house. The only thing we would have to do is, if everybody agrees to do the demo, we would have to reach out to St. Lawrence Borough for a permit for the demolition, because the park is not in Exeter Township.
And when we entered the lease agreement over the park, the restroom facilities and everything else was in it already, correct?
Correct. It was a 25-year lease that we did. It was $1 a year. Unfortunately, over the years with the vandalism, since Exeter Police are not patrolling for St. Lawrence, it just became too much of a money pit, as you would say, with all the stuff that was going on. That the kids were climbing on or whoever it is was climbing on the roof and kicking the vents off the roof. They were actually smashing porcelain sinks and toilets to like smithereens. We replaced them, and basically 2 weeks later, same thing. So,
It's an unfortunate situation.
right.
I see Jason is here. Would you like to add anything?
Just here for any questions.
Okay. Okay, well, any other questions or discussion, guys?
No?
Okay, we'll circle back to it. Seeking a motion to authorize the township manager to enter into an agreement with Exeter Township School District concerning maintenance items at Happy Landing Community Park. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? None? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay. Our next item,
Thanks, Jason.
Jason. We're moving to Parks and Recreation. You taking that on, Larry?
Sure, unless, Bill, would you like to, or?
Yeah, well, we're looking for a motion to approve a resolution to request a Department of Conservation and Natural Resources grant in the amount of $250,000 for Trout Run All Abilities Playground Project. The resolution is necessary for the grant, and there's matching funds of 50% that are required. And as you may recall, the presentation was made during the budget workshops for this project, and it was approved to be budgeted. And this is a playground for children of all abilities, which we think will be a great benefit of the township. So, you know, the playground meets the diverse needs of children of all abilities, fostering an environment where everybody can play, learn, and grow together. Currently, our community lacks a fully accessible play space, limiting recreational opportunities for children with physical, sensory, and cognitive challenges. So we think this will be a great benefit for our community.
Thank you, Bill. I know there's a lot of questions probably here. None? Did I?
Yeah, I got one, Larry. I assume there's going to be, I'll use the word adequate security measures?
Yes. So we did meet with Jason, myself, and Joe and Becky, met with a person from DCNR at the site already before we would even, because the grant only opened up a little over a week ago. So we did discuss with them with the project. They brought up some things that we're looking into and stuff like that. But yes, we have also, they put the fiber optics into that park, so we would have cameras and everything there to monitor the sports fields and also the playground area.
Will that tie back to the township office here?
Yes.
Ah, good.
Yes, yep. We're hoping soon that we will have all our cameras coming back here to our police department, and then also some into our admin office here, so they could see what's going on also.
Okay, good, thanks.
Do we have water over there yet? It was part of the,
No, I think that's going to happen in the spring or summer of this year. It was something that is budgeted for PA American to do that.
Yeah.
So we were hoping to have it done before the parks open, but unfortunately, we're going to have to do the water testing like we did until that is completed.
and speaking of access roads, we still just have one way in and out of there, right?
Correct. I mean, there is.
Just asking the question. I appreciate
Yeah.
your willingness to.
Yeah, there is only one way in and out as of right now. We do have the other alternative of basically going out the walking trail if need be, with just removing two posts, which has a padlock on, which every person, police and staff member has that key to, and emergency vehicles have that key to get people out onto Gibraltar Road that way.
Okay. Thank you.
I guess my question is the grant amount, and we're matching it 50%. Assuming the project costs less or more, is the grant going to increase accordingly or decrease accordingly?
So the max for the grant is $250,000.
Okay.
So if it is more, it'd be on the township side to cover more, but a lot of the grant cost is also just our staff doing a lot of the work, which would be the walkways that we need to the to the restroom areas, with the grading that we need for the wheelchairs. And also, we'll be doing all the site prep before the playground. A lot of the cost is the playground itself and the installation, and also I forget what the stuff is called that goes around. We're not just doing mulch. There's mulch and also an area that can be able to push a wheelchair on easily, so.
Got it. It is certainly needed.
Yes, and also when we met with the Berks County Co-op, which is with St. Lawrence, Douglas Township, Amity Township, and us, Bill and I and Jason attended that meeting last week. And when we told them that we were looking to do this plan, the people that were here from Berks County said, please reach out to us for a letter of support.
Okay. We'll circle back to it. Motion to approve resolution number 2025-11 to request the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, DCNR, grant in the amount of $250,000 for the Trout Run All Ability Playground project. The resolution is necessary to apply for DCNR grant. Matching funds of 50% are required and are budgeted. Do I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Sure, I'll second
Okay.
the motion.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like you're still on. Public Works, moving on.
So yes, we presented at budget time about the replacing our gas buoy system at the fuel pumps here at the Township Building that is used by all our emergency service and public works for fuel. The system is obsolete. We can't even get parts for it anymore if there is any issues. So we were looking into different things. We did talk to Hafer Equipment, which takes care of our pumps if anything is needed, and also our fuel tanks. And they came out and looked at it, and we have a cost of $25,000. It actually a little bit under $25,000, but we budgeted $25,000 in case of any unforeseen things would come up. So the total cost was right around $24,000, but we just left a little leeway for if there's electrical issues or anything like that talked to Jack about earlier. So
Okay.
with that being said, we're asking if we can update our system for our fuel system for $25,000.
Do you know when if approved, when is the expected delivery? And
So if it's approved, that there is no price increase. We actually got this price back in September. I did reach out to them last week to see if there is any change in cost, and they said no, because the price increase did happen in September after we got our quote. And we're going to have to coordinate with our IT department because we have to have some communication lines put out there, Cat5 cables, which we already knew about, and pretty much just order the equipment now and then coordinate it that when the equipment comes, our IT department is also ready to go to get this live the same time that it's completed.
all right, I guess we'll circle back to it. We're looking for a motion to authorize the purchase of the gas buoy fuel management system in the amount not to exceed $25,000.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay.
All right, thank you. The next item is also, we are starting to run low on the recycling containers that we have. So we purchase them by the tractor trailer load, and over the years, we've been passing them out. So there was an opportunity to take advantage of the 902 grant, the same grant that we asked for our leaf loader on. So with that being said, we're just looking for permission tonight to purchase 2,500 recycling containers in the amount of $47,375. They are the blue 32-gallon, as we already do have, with the logo on it. After we purchase them, we submit the check to the 902 grant, and we get reimbursed for the amount.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of motion to authorize the purchase of 2,500 recycling containers in the amount of $47,375, please say aye.
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 Mr. Chairman, could I ask Larry one more question before we move to the?
Certainly.
I appreciate the courtesy. Larry, a couple weeks ago, I asked about salt, my favorite topic to talk about, but now we're in a shortage apparently.
Yes.
So that might not be widely known, but there's a massive shortage. So I'm
Correct.
just checking in to see if we're still good in Exeter.
As of right now, I feel that I'm pretty confident that we're pretty safe. We actually did purchase some anti-skid to mix with our salt,
Okay.
to make our salt spread a little bit further
Yes.
for upcoming, if there's anything else after.
Yeah.
But we are, I did do an email to see if we could get more rock salt from where we were getting it from through CoStars to see if they would extend it, and at this time, they couldn't
Yeah, it's-
do that. And also, Bill received an email today from Albright, which is the Berks County Co-op program that we're also involved in, and they were pretty much asking a couple questions like, who has enough salt to give to your neighboring municipalities? So everybody's trying to work together to make sure everybody's protected. As of right now, I feel that, like I said, we're pretty safe with, we just went and picked up 40 ton today of anti-skid to mix with our salt. So
Yeah.
we're going to keep an eye on it with the next couple storms to see what we can do. We just don't want to go too thin, but we want to make sure that we have traction for the residents of Exeter.
And maybe in March, we'd be able to get more if we could.
Yeah, hopefully. Plus, also in March, we have to do our co-op program to purchase salt for the following year. So we're going to have to predict what we need for next year. And I'm pretty confident we can save for the whole amount because our salt shed holds about 1,800 tons. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident that we can say that we have room for it all. So.
I appreciate it. It's always this thing it's kind of hard to forecast, and then now we have multiple events, and
Correct.
and they're all ice. It's all we get now is ice.
Yes, and we had the same situation back in 2014 where there was a salt shortage too, where our salt shed was completely empty. So I'm trying to monitor that we don't have that same situation.
Thank you for all that, the anti-skid, the keeping,
Yes.
trying to help the neighbors. I appreciate it all.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Moving on to police. Chief.
Good evening, Chairman. Just to piggyback on what we just spoke about with the salt, that the last few weeks, we had several snowstorms, and I can tell you from the police department side, I want to give a shout out to Larry and his crew because we only handled one crash. It was a minor crash, a truck slid off the road. So at all those storms and stuff, and I said to Larry, man, you were really on top of things. He said, well, I was up every hour looking at the weather and stuff, so it really paid off. He really puts a lot of time in it, so, really good shout out because we saved a lot of time and energy and crashes for us, so. Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal for us because, there's times where we have crashes. If it's not hit properly, we'll have 10 to 20 crashes in an hour, so I want to give a shout out to Larry. And, and the EMS spoke tonight about the facility over here. He built that facility, so the road crew did that. So I know he probably was humble and won't say anything, but I want to give a shout out. He built the facility over there too, so. So the thing on the agenda tonight is our police shooting range that we're building this year. And we have an agreement with Mascaro that every year that it has to be renewed and signed. Their attorney sent us notice, sent it to Chad, was actually directed toward Chad, and I was CC'd on it that they would just they rewrote it and like us to sign it automatically, the lease just goes year to year, so we don't have to every year get it signed. So it would just save some time, and we could just have it signed, but we have to do it by the board's approval, and someone sign it from the board and the manager.
Got it. Just one question. I'm presuming the cost of the lease is about-
It's no cost.
Or no cost,
There's
yeah,
no
a
cost.
dollar, a penny, something like that, okay. Any other discussion or questions?
I have none.
None.
We'll circle back to it. We're seeking a motion to approve letter amendment to the lease agreement for the police range. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I
I'll
have-
second it.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate everything you guys do. Moving on to manager's report.
So in the last couple weeks, staff and I engaged with some developers and entrepreneurs who are interested in exploring both commercial and residential projects in Exeter. So, we discussed the benefits of locating in Exeter and also the requirements of doing business. So it's just refreshing to see, they've reached out to us and we're looking for the opportunity. So that's a good note.
Perfect.
So that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, sir. Okay, moving on to supervisor's report. No, usually I'd like to start with Supervisor's Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. Good evening, everyone. Just a couple items to share. One was actually a question. So I'm noticing more people use social media for events and things, and so a lot of events for the summer are already being promoted, and I believe we were tentatively scheduled to have a community fair this year. So I don't know if that's, unless that's on the back burner now, maybe we could do like a social media, like, what do they call this, event, so that people put it on their calendar, and just something I see like other municipalities and other businesses are doing, just to spur up, then they see whose friends are going, and before you know it, we get a good turnout, probably for a pretty low cost, just from our social media. So I didn't see we did that one already.
No, we've been talking to the person that is holding the event, and one of the things that they require is water.
Okay.
For all their concession stands. So right now, we're trying to work through that to see what we can do with, to accommodate that issue. But as of right now.
So it could be delayed a year?
It could be,
Okay,
yes.
all right, perfect. Well, that would be a reason not to publish the event just yet. Thank you for that update. Just trying to drum up as much participation as we can. Speaking of people wanting to do business, I also noticed now on an unrelated social media posting to the township, but the Reading Country Club apparently is hiring food service staff and other banquet type personnel. So if that's a specialty, looks like a business inside the township is having a job fair like next week. So something to possibly check out if someone needs employment. I just noticed that on Facebook. And a couple other additional last things. I do drive down 47th into Moss, kind of like the main intersection in the community. And when I do that, I know like 422 is the state road, of course. There is the crosswalk, and it's a long crosswalk to get from the pharmacy to across the street there. It's pretty dimly lit, and I don't know with 422 being a state road and probably these light bulbs that are allegedly more energy efficient, it's probably detracting from the light. But
George, let me interrupt you. Are you talking about DeMoss Road there?
yeah,
Giant?
DeMoss in 47, yeah, the main intersection.
Keelman, yeah.
Yeah, where Fairleys used to be. That shows my age,
Yeah.
but it's the right age now coming. And it just seems, for a big crosswalk, it seems pretty dimly lit, because we're inviting the people to cross, and now that we have the streetscape done, we are inviting walkers. It's pretty dimly lit there for being this big intersection. Take a look at it. Just, I don't know, again, 422 is a state road. It could be something we have to just see if our friends in PennDOT will help. But I noticed when it's dusk or raining, you can hardly see the pedestrians. And that's a major intersection. Just, Chief, to which you obviously know what I'm speaking
Yes,
about.
absolutely.
But maybe, excuse me, maybe I'm the only one that finds it dimly lit, but it just was an observation I made in these wintry days. So maybe we could just take a peek if it's a deferral to PennDOT to ask if they can help with illumination or whatnot. But that was just something I observed as a resident in the community that I thought I could bring up and maybe somebody could think about. That's all. So, and lastly, let me see here. Oh, last item I have, the comprehensive plan. And excuse my cough. I had the flu 3 weeks ago, and the darn cough just doesn't leave, so I'm sorry. There it is on cue. The comprehensive plan, I know we have some good people working on it. I do feel slightly disconnected from it, so I was just wondering if, like I know there's meetings, they happen to conflict with a different fire advisory board meeting I try to attend. So the question would become if possibly we could either invite someone to this forum here. Our agendas are running a little lighter than they used to, just for an update periodically, because I hate to miss an opportunity to, since we're doing this great work, to inform something that might have been important to the BOS. So maybe that's an ask as well, if maybe Jeff or somebody could come and, I know he did it once before, but I'm just feeling slightly disconnected to the project. That's just something I wanted to share. So that's the comprehensive plan overall is what I'm referring to here with the communities that was referenced earlier. So, but that's all I have this evening. Thank you, and I appreciate the time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Bell. I'm going to Supervisor Kircher.
I have really nothing else to report. I do agree with George about the comprehensive plan, that we should all, maybe we can have a special meeting and we should all really look at that, make sure we're on the right track. And I have to say, how about those Eagles last night? Oh, man, they were just mad, absolutely fantastic. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Vice Chair Paiho.
Two items. The first one is, it kind of goes along a little bit with what Supervisor Bell was referring to with the RCC, is we did, I should say, when I say we, my wife and I did join the RCC for this year, and we're starting to now get emails about updates and et cetera. So if you have not thought about joining the RCC, consider it. Yeah. It should be really interesting from a standpoint of there's going to be a lot of events, et cetera, geared towards Exeter Township residents. We just don't know what they are yet. So the second thing is, and this was the chief had sent us this, and but I had a resident send me the same picture. Did an attachment about Brian Evelyn, who was here earlier this evening, helping out a lady at the Giant load her groceries into the car. And I wanted to just give a shout out. Brian, of course, is now, I guess, out on patrol, working. But Chief, if you would relay to him, that was really going above and beyond and exceptional. Your staff is amazing.
Thank you. He saw an elderly lady having trouble pushing her groceries out, so he pushed them out for her and then loaded them into the car. So it was just something nice. It's nice to see our officers take that, just not only do their job as police officers and protect, but they also try to serve and help in any way possible. So I was proud to see that. So I wanted to share that with this board, so I sent it to you.
Yeah, it was very much appreciated. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. For me, Saturday morning, Jack and I were in a meeting with our Fire Chief, Chris Jordan, at Rifton. We discussed a few items and basically worked down the history path of the whole new fire station that started back in '94.
Oh, before that.
Something like
You're
that.
back in the early 80s.
Just what work has been done and what work needs to be done and how could we move forward. So that's one of the items we did. The other item I have in front of me, a letter from Pat Mascaro, and the letter states that the Pioneer Crossing landfill will be contributing $60,000 this year for the township library. The payment will be made during the months of April, May, and June in increments of $20,000. The monies can be used as determined by the library. And then additionally, we will be making $30,000 donation to the Exeter Township Police Department. Those monies will be paid on September 1st of this year. The monies can be used as the department chief likes to. That's some good news here. Other than that, I have nothing else to report. Moving on, got public comments, non-agenda items, and nobody signed in. Last item, I guess I'm going to try to do an adjournment here. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Go ahead, George.
Sign language.
Sure, I second Michelle's adjournment.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.